Happy Monday. It is 7 o'clock and welcome in to the Real Monica Adams Show. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. I'm going to give you a little weekend roundup, and we have a brand new segment that's kicking off today called What the Weather? Well, I'm not going to do the weather for you anymore. One of the things that I've been wanting to do is incorporating more and more of you from our community into this show. And we started talking about the youth of the world, our future leaders. Well, we have one, and I'm hoping two teenagers that will be joining us. They are future meteorologists, already great in their craft and have a great following as well. We're going to kick things off with What the Weather with Beckett. More and more weather. That's coming up for you in just a couple of minutes. We're going to talk about the Golden Globes, the college football national championship on tap for tonight, and then the NFL picture for the playoffs is also set. So let's start off with the Golden Globes. Congratulations to Oppenheimer, literally sweeping it. They picking up 5 awards. They did pick up 5 awards. And does that set the stage for what we are maybe going to expect for the Oscars? Many times, yes, but sometimes there's the dark horses that all of a sudden you're like, where did that one come from? Have you all seen Oppenheimer, by the way? If you haven't, wow, what a movie. And there's a link, by the way, to our area, Weldon Spring. I'm not going to spoil that for you, but if you get a chance to see the movie, you'll understand. Let me know if you did get a chance to see it already and what you thought of it. So yeah, 5 awards last night picked up at the Golden Globes. Now, as far as football is concerned, first of all, let's talk about college. The National College Championship on tap for tonight. Michigan against Washington. Both of those teams have not won a national championship since the 90s. I'm going to wish them both the best, but maybe edge out a little bit for Michigan only because one of my dear friends' husband went there. He has been there the last few days, been to Media Day, and is all psyched up. I can't wait to see all his pictures that he posts today. For any of you fans of Michigan and Washington, the best of luck to your team. Michigan edging out by 4.5 points as far as who they think is going to win tonight. So that is the college aspect that's on tap. Let me look at the brackets now for you for the NFL playoff picture. It's going to be the Browns and the Texans and the Dolphins and the Chiefs. That's going to kick off for you on Saturday. On Sunday, the Steelers and the Bills. The Packers will go head-to-head with the Cowboys, and it's the Rams against the Lions. And then there is a Monday game on January 15th with the Eagles and the Buccaneers. So that's the playoff picture that's set for the NFL. So a little sports that we put in for you, as well as a little entertainment news. The rundown for today, topic-wise, it's Ask the Doctor, Medical Monday. We're going to kick things off with Dr. Sara Franco and Dr. Charles Willey. We'll talk about men's health issues. You guys need to make sure that you take care of your health. Many times it's us women that are in your life. Maybe it is your children that have to say, hey, Dad, brothers, whatever. You need to get into the doctor. If there's something that you're worried about, I want you to get in or at least ask some questions today from Sara. We're also going to talk about HGH. Do you take that? Have you heard about it? Do you know how it could maybe benefit you? I have a client that was telling me that he's been doing HGH for years and has been using someone in Florida. And I said, no, you can do that right here with Dr. Sara Franco and InVita Health and Wellness. Why use a clinic of someone you haven't even met in another state? So that's the thing that I love, is introducing you to the wonderful things that she does. And then Dr. Charles Willey will be talking about the 13 virtues with Benjamin Franklin. We kicked off the year with resolution. And today we're going to talk about the third virtue, which is order. And he wants to talk about skin issues. Many of us have dealt with different things, or maybe we are looking at something, we kind of dismiss it. He would love for you to send pictures in. So in the comment section today, if you want to attach a picture, zoom in on it and say, hey, I'm a little worried about this, or is this concerning? He would love to diagnose that. We're gonna go through that. We'll also go through kind of the protocol of how he is different than most medical doctors when it comes to that type of diagnosis. Okay, all that coming up for you today. So I promised to give you the weather as we kick off the show today. It is 7:05 and a brand new segment. What the weather? What is the weather? We need more of it, and I might as well go to the more weather. He is our meteorologist, future meteorologist, Beckett Moore. Let me have him join the show this morning. Hi, Beckett.
Hey Monica, how are you? Good morning.
Oh, I am wonderful. We're going to hear a little bit about you first before you give us what I will call the bad news, because I'm not a snow fan, but those who love snow, you might love this. So Beckett, first of all, tell us a little bit about you. How old are you?
14 years old.
And where do you go to school?
Our Lady of Lourdes.
All right. And you live in Ladue, I think you told me last night on the phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what has gotten you to love weather so much? What makes you want to become a meteorologist?
Really just all the snowstorms that have hit St. Louis during my childhood, and I really loved tracking those and reporting on them and just looking at the snow and seeing how the forecast is changing, and that's gotten me into all the other aspects of weather like tornadoes and hurricanes, but the really big thing for me is snowstorms. That's what I love tracking. That's what got me into it.
And Beckett, how long have you been doing this?
I'd say 2 years now, 1.5 years, 2 years probably.
Holy cow. Now, everybody think what you were doing when you were 12 years old. You weren't tracking weather. You weren't already looking at how far along you could be with your career. So you said without a shadow of a doubt, this is what you want to do, right? You want to be a meteorologist.
Yep.
You're ready for the schooling?
Hopefully.
Okay, so what we need to know, Beckett, we've been talking for the last week and a half that we had a weather watcher. So a few days ago, some people were frustrated. They said that the meteorologists that are already in their craft got it wrong, and there was snow all over those streets, and they were saying was only going to be on the grass. You probably have heard this already, that people get frustrated because they say they get it wrong. So before you give us the forecast this week, why do you think it's so hard to make the predictions and do the forecast accurately?
Well, it's really hard to forecast where those heavier bands of snow are going to set up, and where those heavier bands of snow set up under those, of course, that's where we get our biggest accumulations. But you can forecast where the general area of snow is going to be, but where those heavier bands that are only in width a couple of miles, it's tough to forecast that. So that's why a lot of people got it wrong for our last event, where we kind of got surprised with a heavy, persistent band of snow that overcame those warm ground temperatures.
All right, so what we have to hear from what Beckett's saying is give them a break. Don't get mad at them. If you're just tuning in, once again, this is Beckett Moore, and we're going to let the kids do our forecast now because they are our future leaders, and he's got more accuracy than I probably do because I'm just passing along what I hear in our area. Before you give it to us, where do you get your models? Where are you getting your information from?
Pivotalweather.com is where I get them. It's a site with a bunch of weather models and data.
Yeah, and you're doing a great job, so people can follow you. We'll give you the handles where you can follow Beckett because he's going to become a regular part of our show. There's one of them, at More Weather Official. That is the one on Twitter, but he's also on YouTube. So, all right, what can we expect for today and tomorrow, first of all?
All right, so this afternoon across the state, we're going to see some snow moving into Kansas City, Trenton, and Maryville in the northwestern part of Missouri. Also, some wintry mix coming in to Columbia here around 3 p.m. And then rain here to the south towards Springfield and Lebanon. But as we go into the overnight hours, that precipitation comes across to our part of the state here in St. Louis. Wintry mix tonight, could get some snow mixing in, maybe a dusting tonight on those grassy and elevated surfaces, but not going to be able to overcome those warm ground temperatures. And then north of the city, say towards Quincy, Kirksville, Macon, Kansas City, and Columbia, that's where we're going to be seeing all snow tonight. So you're going to be racking up those accumulations, especially in the northern part of the viewing area there in Pike County. Now let's change to what we're expecting for our accumulations here. Less than an inch in St. Louis all the way through Springfield, but you go north of the city, say towards St. Charles, Troy, Moscow Mills, 1 to 2 inches. And again, those northernmost counties here, Pike County, 2 to 3 inches. Up towards Quincy, around 3 to 6 inches. And then the most northern part of the state, that's where we could get in on a heavy band of 6 to 8 inches, especially there in southern Iowa. Now, here's our 7-day outlook. On Monday today, it's going to be cloudy, precipitation free until late tonight, early tomorrow morning. Again, that wintry mix moving in. Low of 32, so right around freezing as that wintry mix moves in. Tuesday, tomorrow, we got wintry mix across the area with some light snow showers around lunchtime. If we see accumulating snow on those grassy and elevated surfaces, that's going to be when we see it with that light snow around lunchtime in the early afternoon hours. Low of 34. Wednesday, sunny as that precipitation moves out of the region, 41, low of 30. And then Thursday, we got mostly cloudy, 43, low of 26. That cold air is starting to move in. We're going to have to watch Friday and Saturday, though, as another big weather system moves in. For right now, models are hinting at a similar track to the one here ongoing right now across the plains, and then will unfold tomorrow here. A similar track to that storm. Now, can that change? Can we get more snow than the storm we're forecasting right now? Yes. So we're going to have to watch Friday through Saturday. Wintry mix on Saturday with a high of 40, low of 16. That Arctic air spilling down from Canada into our region. On Saturday, high of 26. Again, it's getting a lot colder. If there's moisture to work with, we're going to have some heavy snow, so we're going to have to watch that again Saturday. Big day to watch. Make sure you stay tuned to the forecast here. And then Sunday, another system could be coming in Sunday into Monday. That's a little bit too far out for now. 25, and then look at that low on Saturday, getting real cold, down to 10 degrees. Monica?
Well, wow. Beckett, you are incredible. Let me just give you some feedback from our viewers. They're saying, great job. What a bright young man. So professional, very articulate. Great weather report. You sound like a professional already. You got this gig. Yeah, he's got a gig with our show for sure. What an old soul. Beckett, that is the biggest thing that I saw last night when I was watching your report on YouTube. I looked at my husband and I said, I'd hire him right now. You're better than a lot of the meteorologists that I worked with. That's one of his forecasts that we were watching. About a 12.5-minute report that goes very in depth, by the way. If you're traveling, you might want to watch that. He gives the regional and the local forecast. You have definitely watched some of the best in our area and nationally. I can tell that because you got the lingo down, Beckett.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. So you agree that you're going to enjoy this. You're going to be a part of our show, right?
Definitely. Yeah. I'm excited.
Oh, fantastic. So you'll be seeing Beckett more and more. He usually has to get off and go to school around 7:30, 7:40. But more, it's all that. Remember, more weather, and that's what we're going to have. So Beckett, thank you, because this is what we need to know. We've got weather watchers, we've got rain, we've got snow coming our way. We're going to see it, and then maybe even more into the weekend and another one possibly next week. So I told Beckett last night before we get into our segments today that I have this very long, steep driveway that I need to get out of, Beckett. So remember, you got to tell me, even if it's a dusting, that I need to park my car down below. Right?
I don't think it's going to create problems on that pavement, but maybe just to be safe, you might want to do that.
All right, Beckett. Well, have a fantastic day at school, and we're going to check in with you again tomorrow morning.
All right, you too. Bye. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. Isn't he awesome? Follow him, please, again, on Twitter. It's More Weather Official WX at MOORE. WX official, and then it is More Weather on YouTube. He is fantastic, and I can guarantee you, I always like this when I used to watch Ellen DeGeneres, and she would find particular artists and say, remember when they were on my show, and then they just exploded? That, by the way, has been multiple artists over her career. Well, I'm hoping that we can say we had Beckett Moore on our show, and then watch his an amazing bright light that's going to shine, his star that's going to shine, and how he'll take off. I bet you'll see him on national channels very, very soon. Can't wait. Beckett Moore again with us tomorrow morning. All right, it's 7:15. We're going to take a break, and my guest, Dr. Sara Franco, if you can tell me in my ear, I think is here. Is that correct? All right, wonderful. So Dr. Sara Franco is here. We're going to talk first about InVita Health and Wellness and men's health issues. All right, guys, listen up. And all you ladies that have been trying to get your guys in to take care of themselves, we are going to focus on the men today when we return. InVita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. InVita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, InVita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let InVita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment or online, InVitaHealthandWellness.com. Welcome back, 7:15. If you're just tuned in, you just missed the weather forecast. I'll do a little recap. I don't think I'm going to do it as good as Beckett Moore, but cannot wait for him to be a regular part of our show. We have regular features for you, like the woman that's with me right now. If you are new to the show, let me give you a little background on her because maybe you haven't seen her yet. Dr. Sara Franco with InVita Health and Wellness. Thanks for being with us. Again, a lot of people have been watching the show on a regular basis, but if anybody's new, you started InVita how long ago?
2 years now, the end of December 2021.
And you spent decades in ER and really specializing in anesthesiology as a nurse and then a PhD. So Dr. Sara Franco, it is your passion to obviously take care of people. We talk a lot about women's health issues, and you and I mentioned, hey, different topics we want to discuss on the show. I want men to understand you've got to get in. You've got to address different things. We have notoriously said that they don't take care of themselves the way they should. Being in the medical field, would you agree with that?
I would absolutely agree with that, yes.
What do you think the biggest reason is that they don't go in?
I think it's just sometimes pride, sometimes just feeling like, they're, historically they're supposed to be the provider, the strong one. And, it's almost like a sign of weakness if you go seek somebody's help for something. So, I think that stigma is getting a lot better, but, just historically they've been kind of the last to come in.
And I'll just pass this along because we always want to be real. From my husband, his comment was, well, I don't want to hear there's bad news. And I said, yeah, but this is the biggest thing I think I want you to listen to. But you need to know if there is something wrong to get ahead of the game, right?
Absolutely.
You don't want to be behind that.
Right. I know. It's funny. I was talking with my husband. There's the new Gallery test that's out that can check for these cancer cells early on. And I told my husband, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do it. Do you want to do it too? And he was like, I don't want to know that. And, it's like, well, just not knowing doesn't mean you don't have it. It just means, now you can, it's not going to prevent it. But it's also not going to keep it from developing. Now you can just get ahead of it and stop it, if it's stage 1 instead of stage 4. So I think that's very much a common theme.
It's interesting. So this is Dr. Sara Franco from InVita Health and Wellness. There are a lot of people who have said, would you want to know, I heard this the other day, would you want to know when you're going to die and how you're going to die? And how would you answer that, everybody? I'll throw that out to you. Do you want to know? Would you want to know? And would you want to know how? I'll ask you. Would you?
I do. I have some control issues. I'll be the first to admit. Totally want to, totally the first to admit that. But absolutely. I try to live life to the fullest anyway. But just knowing when it's going to happen and not just that. I don't like surprises. So absolutely.
I think I would like to know when. If it's absolutely horrible, I don't know if I'd want to know how. I'd like to just say, oh, I do just fall asleep. It's nice like that.
That's everyone's dream, right? Just take a nice nap.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess if it was some horrible, terrible death, that would not be nice to know. But I would like to, I guess I would like to know.
Right, but so the point is, if you knew, would you change your lifestyle habits? If you knew cancer was coming, would you eliminate sugars and other things that are feeding the cancer? That's the reason why I think it would be interesting to know. So for the men, I want you to ask if there's anything that's going on and you're like, all right, should I be concerned about this? Should I come in and talk about this? We're going to talk about that, but I also want to mention HGH. I have a brand new client that's going to be coming to you, but I thought this was interesting. He's like, oh, well, Monica, what do you think about HGH? So first, what is HGH?
So that's human growth hormone. So a hormone that is produced naturally by the pituitary. And, as much like everything else, as we get older, usually after about the age of 40, those levels start to decline.
And so is it for everyone if they're saying, hey, I want to have a little more energy, I want to live a little better, I want to be able to work out, and this boosts, my working out? What does it all help with? And is everybody okay to take it, or would it be something where we would say, no, you shouldn't because of fill in the blank?
Right. So, it's something that is naturally produced. Obviously, whenever we're children, it's going to, it's what's required to lengthen long bones and things like that. So once those growth plates are closed, unfortunately, if we do HGH as an adult, we're not going to get taller or anything like that. But like everything, it's in moderation. You start producing too much of it, there are consequences, there are side effects. And to be completely honest, the only FDA approved reasons to take HGH are things like just if you have insufficiency, if you have some kind of cancer that is causing you to produce low amounts of that, or those kind of conditions. So otherwise, it can be used to boost some natural processes naturally, but at the end of the day, there are three things that are going to cause that to be produced by the pituitary. That's going to be exercising, sleep, and unfortunately stress on the body. So that's why a lot of the athletes and things like that will use it in hope of like muscle recovery and those kind of things.
Right, so I don't know how he was introduced to it, but he has it to where right now he's like, I have it for another couple of months, but when it's up, I want to go to her, because what right now he's doing is getting it from someone in Florida. And that was just like a screeching, why would you take something from a clinic and a person you don't even know? Do you hear that a lot?
Oh, we get that all the time.
Really?
I was actually talking with a patient the other day who came in for weight loss, and HGH can also be used for weight loss because it's going to decrease the amount of fat storage and things like that. At a moderate level, but she brought in a vial, and I think I might have mentioned this before, brought in a vial that actually said not for human consumption.
Yes.
And, and I was just, it appalled me. This is the second patient now that's brought something in. So you really have to know, you really need to know where these medications are coming from and the composition of these medications.
Right, and let me say this right now, as many of you are tuning in, yes, and good morning to many of you, Pamela, Julie, Kathy must have said, no, only God knows. Yes, God does know, but I would like for him to whisper it to me, hey, you got about a week left.
Yeah,
Here's what you want to do. Most people say, just hope it's peaceful, wouldn't want to know. Okay. HGH, not HCG.
Correct.
Because people can be tuning in saying, oh, are they talking about HCG? That's something completely different. What is HCG?
That's human chorionic hormone. So that's naturally produced during pregnancy and things like that. But it can also be used kind of in the anabolic world as far as building muscle mass.
Are people is that still a thing, or has that kind of been going
It's
away?
really been going to the wayside. For a long time, we couldn't even get it again. It is being used off-label again and is accessible. We do not use that at our clinic, though.
So has like semaglutide and things like that kind of taken over, that people are saying, no, this is much better, we're using this and not HCG?
It really has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, men's health issues. John Zarbach said, great topic. John, what are the topics that you would want to know about your own health? So he is the one with BioFit. People have been going to work out with him, which I love. And he's seeing a new way of training. But outside of the training, what should you be doing to take care of you? As someone in the medical field for a long, long time, if you look back at the last 20 to 30 years, and you can kind of do a summary of what you would wish right now that men would be doing to take care of their health on their own, and then maybe something that could help supplement that you would be able to help them with, what would it be?
Get more sleep.
Get more sleep.
Get more sleep, exercise more. Those are all things that are directly linked to just further decreases in those levels. But those are, anytime you can do something naturally. I mean, there are times when we have to have a little bit of a boost, but anytime you can do those things naturally, that's just going to improve overall processes. And what we have to understand is that all of these hormones are directly linked together. So if you start messing with one, if one's going up, then the other is going to go down. In this case, it's going to be somatostatin. So somatostatin is another hormone. It's kind of the negative feedback. Anytime we have a hormone that goes up, we need to have something in the body that's going to naturally regulate that. If you start doing HGH in excess, then you can start producing too many red blood cells. If you do too many red blood cells, then you're putting yourself at risk for heart attack, stroke, those kind of things.
Oh my gosh, that's exactly what he showed in his panels.
Yep. So all of these things have to be to be considered.
Let me say, and I don't know if he's watching, but I will grab this show and send it to him. He started having his labs done, and I said, he goes, Monica, I've had tons of labs done. And as soon as I heard that, I thought, you're probably going to a DO, because they usually do a lot more labs than an MD does. More specific things that you're asking for, like vitamins and stuff, that wouldn't be done. And sure enough, he went back, he's like, what's a DO? And as he looked, he goes, oh, it is a DO. I'm like, yeah, I thought so. But was he doing things that he didn't necessarily need to do? One of the panels came up and actually showed a change in his red blood cells, and he goes, that was weird. He's like, that hadn't been.
Never happened before.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, I got to give this to him. So that is one of the reasons I would want someone to control it in front of you.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, that's a ding ding right there. If you just have a clinic that's just changing things around, just sending things to you, and you're not able to have that conversation in person, maybe as you've talked about months ago, are we taking vitamins that are overdoing it? It's just like as a trainer, we say, well, you're overtraining. All those things, is it being wasted?
Right. Well, is it being wasted? And you have to understand that. I mean, in we're not naturally producing vitamins. We've discussed it. If you have extra, then you just pee them out. But you do have to understand with hormones, if you are taking something exogenously, so exit from the body, if you're taking something, then that's telling your body you don't need to produce this on its own anymore. If you start getting in excess of what you're needing, then the body just kind of shuts down. So kind of like we talk about it just completely just kind of hijacking your metabolism. Yeah. This is hijacking your hormonal control. So now your thyroid levels are going to get out of control. Your prolactin levels are going to get out of control. The same thing with testosterone. There's a lot of clinics out there that, there is we have low testosterone, a nice normal range of testosterone, and everybody's normal is different. Like just jumping back a little bit, my thyroid, the lab levels, if you're less than 6, then you're considered normal thyroid, right? If I get up toward like 3 or 4, I don't feel good. Everybody has their own normal. So going back to testosterone, if you can use exogenous testosterone. If you start using too much of it, then it's just, now your body, which was already not producing enough anyway, now it's like, oh, you're getting this from somewhere else. We don't need to produce it at all anymore. And then you're even worse off than the way you started. So I get asked all the time, if I start testosterone replacement, am I going to have to do it for the rest of my life? You will if you completely hijack and override that system. Because eventually the body's just going to be like, I don't need to do this anymore. You're getting it from somewhere else.
Which, folks, is why you need someone like Sara to be administering it to you, to look at your labs, to continuously say, let's look at your blood again. Okay, let's check this again. Nope, we are going to inch it up. It's the other reasons why these clinics that exist out there, and I'm not going to name any of them because there are several, but they're dangerous.
Right.
It's just, hey, let's go in and let's just have the highest amount of testosterone because I hear I need it and I just want to be walking around and I want to go back to looking like I did when I was in my 20s. I want to perform like I did when I was in my teens, and it shouldn't be done.
It shouldn't be done. And you need to do a little bit of research on what's actually going to build muscle. You can't take HGH without another anabolic steroid and have any kind of muscle growth. It's not going to work that way. So there's going to be something that's needed in conjunction with that if that is the reason that you're using it.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to ask Sara something about the testosterone aspect that my husband actually asked and see if you have any questions. Actually, John just said, I completely agree. Exercise, sleep, good nutrition. Are you guys doing that? Are you saying, I'm okay, but you're asking for the world? You can't. You got to put the work in. You got to do the things that you're supposed to do and then let them fill in the blanks. So a big question I have, and any questions you might possibly have with Sara and myself when we return.
Hi, it's Monica Adams. Thank you so much for following along with The Real Monica Adams Show since we launched back in March. But I wanted to let you know there's so much more that I could do with you, your business, your corporation. Did you know that I'm a motivational speaker all around the world, as well as an MC and an auctioneer? So if you have an event, maybe a nonprofit organization, and you want to book me, just shoot me an email, info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Personal training, life coaching, and styling as well. info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com.
Welcome back. It is 7:29, and we're talking with Dr. Sara Franco with InVita Health and Wellness. Dr. Charles Willey will be joining us in about the next 5 or 10 minutes. We'll be talking about skin issues, and if you want to send in pictures and attach them to a comment, he might be able to look at it, do a little diagnosis of it, and if he feels you need to come into the office, we'll go beyond that. Please do not. Right now we're talking about men's health issues, but each and every one of you, if you think that there's something you have on your body that is questionable, do not let it go, right? Sara, you just said, get out ahead of it. Like if you see something that's been bothering you and you think, what is that? I felt something actually last night. I was like, is this just because he's coming in, or is that just a little scab? Well, I'd have him look at it because you don't want it to turn into skin cancer and then it be advanced.
Absolutely. We see that a lot. I was actually just doing an injection the other day and asked a woman, she had a mole back in her hairline, and I said, have you ever had anybody take a look at this mole right here? Because there are areas that we will see that, behind your ear, you can't see behind your ear. But definitely, Name That Rash is one of my favorite games to play. So
that's another new segment. Name That Rash. Okay, so my husband's comment was, once the blood work comes in, which it should be coming to you hopefully this week, and whatever it shows, if it's a vitamin D deficiency, I had vitamin B12 deficiency, if it's a testosterone aspect, his question was, okay, if she says, well, maybe you could do this, and let's just kind of inch into it. What if he said, I don't really want to? His whole thing is, I'm such a traditionalist. I've never done anything like this. So you've probably had a lot of that. And guys, well, how do we inch us into it? And is it something I'd have to do for life? That was one of his questions. But the main one was, but what if I didn't do it?
So, our whole kind of mantra is, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Generally people are going to come in because something's wrong. Or, after you start to talk to them a little bit, they'll be like, well, I have been having a lack of energy. Or for men, if they are noticing that they don't have to shave as often, a lack of hair growth. If they are, noticing, it doesn't have to be as extreme as like shrinking of the testicles or anything like that, but low libidos, decreases in muscle mass, those are all things that we would question. And if those are issues for them, then they probably need a little bit of testosterone replacement.
And would they also be very tired and exhausted on a regular basis?
Absolutely.
So what we're saying is, would you want to be walking around and living a better life?
Exactly. And that's what I'll ask him. Is energy a problem for you? If the answer is yes, then why don't we do something to fix it? And generally it only takes about one shot and they're kind of on board. They're like, you don't realize how tired you are until you're not as tired anymore. So, but
as you had said, again, I know we went to a break and some of you might just, because constantly people are signing in. You might be saying, okay, but if I do that, is it a lifelong thing? She addressed that earlier.
If you kind of hijack the system, it's going to be. And things like vitamin D, just unfortunately here in the Midwest, we don't get the sunshine that you do in California or you do down in Florida, one of these coasts. So that is likely something that you're going to have to supplement for life. But, there are hormones like testosterone, HGH, somatostatin that we've talked about. Those are all things that, if you're not overriding that system, then you can get things in place until you can do things to naturally increase those, sleep, exercise. If you're not willing to put forth the effort and do those things that you mentioned, then it is going to be something that you would need to supplement. In order to feel that way, you would need to supplement it for life, but it isn't going to completely make it where you have to supplement it for life.
Again, men, we just want you to take care of yourselves. And many times it's us that have to nudge a little bit. And then we got to push. And then we just have to grab you, make the appointment, and take you because we want you around. We want you to be the best versions of yourself. Before we wrap up, Sara, Marilyn asked, good morning, best approach for hormonal imbalances.
Get your labs checked. Find out what your baseline is. Then let's talk about what is bothering you. If it's fatigue, if it's low libido, if it's poor hair and nail growth, those kind of things, and then we can address those one by one.
Absolutely. And I went to my OBGYN a while back, and he actually was saying, he's like, well, you're not in menopause. And I go, I think I am. And he goes, really? Or, he started asking me, are you going through this? And I was like, he goes, because you're in great shape and whatever. And I said, okay. And he's like, do you have low libido? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Sometimes I just wonder if I'm just working too much and just tired and you go to sleep, or if it's a matter of that. Did my blood work, and sure enough, full blown into menopause, which is a whole other show that I definitely want to do again because we haven't done it in a while. But why would I want to be walking around sleep deprived, exhausted, putting on weight, all these things that you all go through? You're frustrated with who you are, you're emotional. That's why women go to the OBGYN and find out if they're in perimenopause or they're in menopause, and then they say, oh, well, there's something we can do about it, naturally do about it? Yes, there is. So we'll flip and do more women-related. I'd like to talk a little bit more about menopause because it's such a huge issue.
Sure.
Not just for women, but for men to understand. I had a lot of guys saying, if I knew and I understood more what I could do for my woman and make our relationship better. I loved that one of the guys said this, and I was like, yes.
Right.
Yes, please take an effort to help her out a little bit.
Right.
Yes. Okay, so if you have never been to InVita Health and Wellness, let's give all the information. There you go, InVitaHealthandWellness.com, and the best phone number to call.
314-394-0950.
Fantastic. Michelle's singing your praises. She said she's been getting mine in line with monthly shots. Now that I have finished menopause, I feel so much more like myself. She was frustrated. She was saying she was putting on weight. I can actually meant to tell her this morning. So I know you're listening. Michelle, you look great. So I can tell that she's dropping weight and she feels better about herself. Because what is it? I always talk about the triangle, right? If you're putting on weight, physically you don't like the way you look, you're going to do the self-hating in the mirror. Mm-hmm. We don't want that anymore. There's something for each and every one of you. So men's health and women's health, kids' health, we'll discuss all of it. And by the way, need to get back into you this week.
Yep.
I need Jamie to set up my facial. So will you guys call me and set that up for me?
Yes, we'll call you and set that up. Yes.
Or Michelle is my assistant. Set it up. I need to set it up. All right. Thank you. Great to see you again.
You as well.
We continue Medical Monday. Dr. Charles Willey is coming in from Innovare Health Advocates. We're going to talk about those skin issues, and we're going to talk about organization, and how organization will drastically change your life. Dr. Charles Willey in the blue chair when we return.
You are truly an incredible human being, and just what you're doing is so inspiring. This was really a cathartic experience for me. So I appreciate you, love you.
It's been an honor to not only just be here on set with you, but just to sit in your presence. You inspire everyone around you, from your motivational speaking to your podcast here, to just being the human that you are.
It's just such a joy to be able to see you at this point in your career. Really following your passion, fulfilling your dreams, and encouraging other people to do the same.
I feel that I've been missing out. I believe God places people like you in people's lives for a reason. You have definitely been a God wing for me.
Well, welcome back. I just love what each and every one of you have been saying. And, all these are surprises to me. My team has been grabbing testimonials from our sponsors, from our wonderful guests over the last several months. So thank you again to Kathy Kilo Peterson. Let me hit the button. Kathy, we love you. There it is, kkilo.com. We're going to have her bring the weather to us. She is sponsoring the weather today. We kicked off the show with a bright, new, young future meteorologist, Beckett Moore. Follow him at Moore Weather Official on Twitter or Moore Weather on YouTube. You will see him again tomorrow when we have possibly snow, 1 to 3 inches coming in. That'll be an interesting watcher that he'll talk a little bit more about. So Kathy Kilo Peterson, thank you for everything that you do. When you need an agent, you want your quote, you want to look at your policy, 636-561-6460. And again, you saw Kathy Kilo Peterson on that promo. Lori, Abby Stahlschmidt, Kira Anderson, thank you so very much. I do want to do this. We always talk about new things we're kicking off. I am thankful for. Start your day with intention. Blessings. That's my word for you today, to think about more of the blessings that are around in your life. Well, we're talking about your health, and we want you around to have a life longer. We were just talking about men's health issues. Now, this is something that affects all of us. Organization, skin issues. We've got Dr. Charles Willey back with us from Innovare Health Advocates. First of all, thanks for coming in again.
Thanks for having me.
Look at that tie. Tell everybody what's on your tie if they can't see it.
It's George Washington and his free speech quote.
Which is,
without free speech, we will be led blind and dumb like sheep to the slaughter.
Oh my goodness. We're talking about presidents, by the way, because last week we talked about Benjamin Franklin's 13 virtues, and the one we kicked off with obviously makes sense at the beginning of the year, was resolution. There they are. That was number 4. We're going to do order, though, today. We're going to talk about the importance of order and organization, and we're also going to talk about skin issues. So if you have a picture that you want to attach to a comment I might be able to show that on the camera and tell you what he's diagnosing. Don't let it go, please, because that's what is so very important. So first order, and you gave us a picture of the pill boxes. Do you give these out to your patients?
We do. You know, it's really hard to remember to take pills, even if you only have to take 2.
Right?
So put it someplace convenient. But if you're on several medicines several times a day, it's really difficult to remember. And it's important. You know, if I'm a minimalist, but my tools are medicines, and we can make a giant difference. So if I'm prescribing a medicine, it's important, and you really have to remember to take it. So don't take enough, it doesn't work. Take too much, which happens. Actually, I had a guy in the hospital. He forgot, he took too much. His daughter usually helped him with his pill box. She got sick, she couldn't come. He took too many, he's in the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
So it's really important.
So those, how big are those pill boxes? I mean, that picture makes it look huge.
You know, it's probably about the size of your tablet.
Oh, it is that big.
Yeah.
So that was, my question would be, all right, so you're showing morning, noon, evening, bed.
And
What
you can take each row out. Like if you're going somewhere for the day, you can
that's what I
take
was
it
gonna
out.
say. Oh,
Take
that was my question.
Take it with you.
Okay, because there's so many people that might be on the go and they're not coming back and they think, I've missed my pills.
Yeah.
That was exactly my question. See that? He read my mind.
Yeah,
So we
if
can
you-
pop it out and bring it with us.
You look in the box and they're still there, you forgot.
Okay, there's a good question though. So if they did forget and now they're doubling up, is that a problem with taking 2?
It depends on the medicine. Some it's not so critical what time of day to take it, just to take it. If it's blood pressure medicine and it's twice or 3 times a day, most are once or twice. You don't want to take them both. Just start over.
Okay, so if they miss, just skip it and then get right back on the
Most
next.
of the time, just skip it and get back on schedule.
But talk with your doctor about it. And again, it's about organization. So that's the organization of the pill box, kind of the analogy and the view of it. But what would you say for your patients in the 40 years that you have been a physician that you would wish that they had more order in what aspect of life?
I think understanding their medical problems and making sure they have a few goals for each one. You know, what do I need to do about this problem every day? Make a habit of it. You know, changing behavior is difficult, and it's accomplished when you have a new habit, and it takes a while to develop a new habit. If you got to do it again and again, so make a list. Okay, here's what I have to do today about this issue. Make sure you do it every day. Schedule it. You know, order is organization, and schedule it. So it becomes a habit.
Would you incorporate, oh my gosh, I don't have it in front of me, water? Do you ask all of your patients to have more water in their day, and then how would they track how much they're taking in?
Yeah, 2 to 3 liters a day. You know, especially my folks who've come out of the hospital. You know, in the hospital you get this little graduated pitcher, either a half a liter or a liter. So half a liter, I say drink 5 or 6 of those a day.
And what is their response to you?
They roll their eyes and say, I can't drink that much water. Well,
And they say because they're going to go pee constantly. That is what I always hear.
Yeah.
As a trainer, when I tell people I need you to drink more water, they say, but aren't I going to be up all night long going to the bathroom?
well, if you concentrated early in the day, maybe not. No, depends on the age and health of their
bladder.
Their bladder, and a man, the prostate. You know.
Yeah.
So, a woman, maybe how many babies she's had.
Sure. I think what I have found is if you start to do it, yes, in the beginning it is going to happen. And then what their problem is that they say, well, isn't that disrupting the other part of what the doctor wants me to do, which is sleep?
Sleep is important, but if you're getting up that frequently at night to pee, let me know. And if you're not going back to sleep easy enough, let me know. And if you're not rested in the morning, let me know, because we can help you with all those things.
So how would you help? So, because I know one of the biggest things that we want to get across of how different Dr. Willey is from many of your primary physicians is the protocols of what you go through and how you're helping. So if they say all those things are happening, what would you do?
Well, frequent urine at night. If it's a man, we're talking about his prostate, and maybe there may be medicines for that. We actually start with other medicines I might be giving them. First, do no harm. Make sure a diuretic is in the morning. Some talk about caffeine. caffeine does two things. It makes the bladder spastic, more itchy to empty, but it also is a diuretic. It produces more urine. So concentrate caffeine early in the day, water early in the day. Those are simple things.
So the guys that think they can just drink coffee all day long and right before they go to bed, not a good thing.
Well, if they can sleep well and not get up to pee too much and be rested in the morning, it's okay.
Okay.
But if not, if it makes them anxious, caffeine's a a drug that many of us use.
There's coffee right there.
Right here. That's right.
Let's be real.
I'm a user.
I'm a user.
Yeah. And the National Panel of Smart Guys have tried hard to find what bad it's doing for us, but they can't find it. It does make you anxious. It does make your bladder spastic. It does produce more urine. It's a diuretic. But other than that,
what does it do to your heart?
It'll quicken it a little bit. It's a cousin of adrenaline. Make it go a little faster. Beat a little more forcefully. Those are subtleties, and only while it's in you.
And I've always wanted to ask this question, and here's one of the most respected doctors in our area. If somebody is overdoing caffeine, you're not overly concerned about what it's doing to their heart?
If it's a young, healthy heart, it's going to be okay. If there's something about to happen, it may help it happen, like an arrhythmia. If somebody's going to have supraventricular tachycardia, it'll make that happen easier. Okay. Because it does change the electrical potential in the muscle. It's a subtlety.
Again, if you're just tuning in, we're talking with Dr. Charles Willey. If you're brand new to the show, you get a chance to see him every Monday from Innovare Health Advocates. And again, it's the Ask the Doctor segment. So let's put up on the screen innovarehealth.com. And again, 5 locations between the Missouri and the Illinois side. So definitely one near you that you can find. So from the protocol, we actually have a link that Jay, who works with you, sent us. Let me bring that up on the screen so we can kind of go through and talk about some of the way that you're diagnosing. Like if you did this, if you had these kind of problems, how you address that. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're also going to talk about skin issues. It's funny that you wanted to talk about today because it's like it's in your mind and all of a sudden something jumps out at you. So I was feeling this little thing right here. So, is there any concern, or is that just nothing?
It's an oil gland that's a little inflamed.
Okay, see, so I'm glad. So I'm asking, but I don't want all of you to dismiss something, because one of the things that we mentioned about 10, 15 minutes ago is there something that just popped up? Does it continue to come back? And has it changed, which you've mentioned, I think, before? Don't dismiss that.
Yeah, the more persistent it is, the faster it's growing. If it's a skin issue, the more you ought to have it. Ask me to have a look at it.
If something is, and I think this is the biggest thing that's been people questioned. I have someone in my family who's had many different bouts of skin cancer and things that she's had to have removed. And she came back and told me what they looked like. And she's like, Monica, it's not probably what you think. Like, people will see these huge issues and go, oh, that's definitely skin cancer. She had things that looked like a pimple or like a little scab, but it kept reoccurring.
In the beginning, they all look like a little pink spot.
Okay.
But as they grow and develop, they'll differentiate and have features that help us decide, yeah, that's probably a cancer or probably not.
And it changes colors and size?
It can, depending on what kind it is, it changes color, its texture. If it disrupts the natural architecture of the skin, you have these wrinkles.
Yes.
You have a texture of the skin. If it's disrupting the texture, that's important.
So if it feels like raised?
Yeah, well, raised or actually sunken.
Or okay.
It can. Some of them will cause atrophy of the natural skin.
Interesting.
And be variable. So.
Okay, and so again, we're going to say it today. We'll kind of keep it going throughout the weeks that Dr. Willey is on. If you have pictures you want to start sending me that we can actually make a part of the show. Before we wrapped up today, if anybody wants to drop a comment and then my team can tell me in my ear, hey, we've got this picture, so look at this. I can maybe show it onto the camera. Dr. Willey can look at it. Feel free to take a snapshot of something if you want to send it in to us, and we can have him look at it, say, actually, I do think you need to come in. You need to be able to hear that. Sara was just mentioning that guys notoriously don't want to go in because they don't want to be told something's wrong. I'm sure you've heard that.
Is she calling guys wimps?
You're not wimps,
is
but
that
you
what she
don't want to
said?
find out. I said it. And I said, do you find this in all the years you've been in medicine? So I ask you the same thing. Why do you guys not want to go to the doctor?
I think it's they want to get it done, one and done. Quick. They're afraid they'll go there, and they're afraid of the dithering and the, all the extra. Just tell me what it is, doc. Get out of here.
Yeah.
They want to be quick to the point, and healthcare has a lot of bureaucracy about it and a lot of process, and boy, sometimes it's, I mean, how many times are you going to fill out that form? Right?
Exactly. Did you just share it with everybody?
I used to say, I think it's a little better now, but the patient who got to the bed in the hospital was asked the same set of questions about 6 times before they got to the bed.
And it's frustrating.
Good
and guys
Lord.
Especially say they don't want to go through that.
Yeah,
so we women have to fill out the forms, right? That's what happens. We're going to take a quick break. We'll go back to your questions, order, organization, skincare issues, and the protocol that they do at Innovare Health Advocates that's very different, and why, as we've been having him on throughout the weeks, I want you to think, I need this guy to be my doctor. And that's it. Why stay with someone who isn't giving you this level of care? Innovare Health Advocates, an advocate for you. More with Dr. Charles Willey when we return.
Think about this. When's the last time you called your doctor at 2 o'clock in the morning and he actually answered? Well, at Innovare Health Advocates, their patients are special. Their doctors, nurse practitioners, their care team care deeply about your health, your family, your work, and even your pet. Their clinicians are accessible and they lead your care in and out of the hospital. In fact, Dr. Charles Willey offers his cell phone number to his patients to ensure they can intervene early in your illness. They can provide care above and beyond, offering lab, x-ray, echocardiogram, and other treatments in their office. Innovare Health Advocates with 5 locations on both sides of the river. Check them out, innovarehealth.com.
Welcome back, 7:51, and we're talking about your health today. Again, I want you to think, is it something that you're dealing with? Someone within your family, a friend maybe has mentioned something? Well, you hear today, you might want to show them this show. Again, take it, like it, share, follow. Make sure that they know that we're covering your issues every single Monday. And we're talking with Dr. Charles Willey, again, with Innovare Health Advocates. So, Dr. Willey, your team has provided us with some pictures. We're going to go through, because I think there's a lot of people that might look at these and go, oh, well, I have that. I just mentioned the raised aspect. You said it could be raised or sunken. So that would be progressed. Is there something prior to that we would be looking at for it to get to that level?
Yeah, the other ones there, the little ones, are all the same thing.
Oh, that is?
Yeah, notice they're subtle, almost skin color. The one right above it, you can see it's got some of that.
Yes, but those other ones are?
Cauliflower texture. The one right above, it's smooth and got the cauliflower texture.
Right.
Yeah.
But the other little ones you're saying are?
Yeah, those little spots are all the same thing.
Oh, I did not know that.
In the making, yeah. It's a seborrheic keratosis.
Okay, and that?
Grandma called it an age spot or a liver spot.
But it's not.
It's harmless.
Okay.
Genetic.
Okay.
Some people
and so
have.
What would you do for that?
Well, if somebody wanted to get rid of it, I'd freeze it.
Okay.
Liquid nitrogen.
But that's not skin cancer.
Not skin cancer, and if that's one where if it doesn't bother you, don't bother it. But
Gotcha.
But if it's in a if that was on your cheek, you'd want me to freeze it.
Yes. From an aesthetic standpoint.
Yeah. Or.
Okay. All right. Let's go through some other ones.
Yep.
What other ones do we have here that we can pop in? So that's interesting. All right. Shingles.
Shingles.
And what about, before we talk about that, what's your viewpoints on the shingles vaccine, like when you turn 50?
Well, the tragedy is that the government, Medicare, spent $15 billion immunizing most of the senior citizens with the first shingles vaccine, and it didn't work. And we knew it didn't work. I didn't recommend it. This one, the new one, works. The current shingles vaccine works. It's worth getting. And shingles is on the rise. One theory is that because the kiddies are getting, shingles is a recurrence of your chicken pox.
Right? Mm-hmm.
And the kids aren't getting chicken pox anymore because they're getting vaccinated. And one theory is that exposure to a kid with chicken pox would keep your immunity boosted to keep your shingles virus in your spinal cord and not let it come out. But anyway, it's more frequent. So the vaccine is useful. But I also say to people, it's only on one side of the body. So that's a side view. You can see the belly button on the left. What happens first is a stinging, tingling feeling. It might feel like a fly bit you, and you rub it. And when you rub it, it doesn't soothe. It enlivens it. It stings or tingles or itches more. So if you get a persistent stinging, tingling itch,
Come in right away?
not yet,
No?
but think shingles.
Okay.
And if we treat it with an antiviral before a day or two of the rash, we can knock it out. It'll be a nothing. That's a pretty tough case there.
Yeah, how advanced is that, do you think?
Well, it's that looks like it's 3 to 5 days into the rash.
And then at
They're
that point,
blistered.
it's painful.
I've
I've heard shingles is very painful.
It becomes painful, and the pain can persist for a year in some people.
Oh, wow.
It can be very annoying.
So if that's 3 to 5 days in and someone comes to you and then you get them on the medicine that they need, how long would it be until it's out of their system?
Well, it doesn't leave. It still retreats to live in the spinal cord. So
And it can keep coming back.
It's with you forever. It can wake up and come down a nerve. Yeah.
How often?
Most people, if it happens once. A few people will get it twice.
Okay.
It'll happen twice, especially if they're immune suppressed.
So once you put them on medicine, if they're at that stage, how long would it be until that goes away?
Well, that's the medicine may change the course of it. The dogma was that if you don't treat it within the first day or two, it's going to spread. The antiviral is not going to help. But I had a lady a long time ago, and I followed that rule, and it got so bad, she really had a bad case. So whenever I see it, I give them the antiviral to slow it down.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that the rash lasts 7 days, 10 days.
Okay.
The pain can go on for months and even a year.
If we get the shingles vaccine, we have to get that every year?
It's a 2-shot regimen, and no, I think it's a one-time.
One-time thing.
It's a one-time thing. Until they've sold enough, and then maybe they'll recommend it again. No, I'm being a little
Don't say that.
being a little sassy there. We may not know how effective it is. Maybe it's effective for a while. You have to find out. Immunize the population, see what happens.
And is it, again, what I've heard, which is when you're turning 50? Or would you get the shingles vaccine before 50?
50 is probably a good rule.
Okay, is there any problem with getting the vaccine as far as once it's in our body? Is there any side effects or anything we'd be worried about?
No.
No? Okay. No. If you're just tuning in, again, if any of these questions that I have, if you want me to go more in depth, if you want to be a part of the show with it, please let us know. We're looking at, again, some pictures of skin issues. We looked at shingles. We talked a little bit about an age spot. Do we have a slide that shows skin cancer? Because that's something that that's the big thing for a lot of people.
I think that in that series, at the end, there's one.
At the end?
But by the way, you said, how do I do it? If it's my patient, send me a picture.
Yes.
If I know you, it's my patient. You got that. Send me a picture or text. Yep, we'll treat it over the phone. You don't have to, make an appointment, schedule, come, we get her done.
Okay. So InnovareHealth.com, and again, some of the links and pictures that we were looking at. He said at the end of that, I'm going to talk to Zach, who is running things for us. Dr. Willey says at the end of that, he believes that there's a picture that has to do with
the others
skin cancer.
are not cancers. I've got a whole bunch of skin cancers, but I didn't get them to you in time.
That's okay. Okay, but it's
we'll do those
something I
another
think
time.
we need to discuss.
That's really important.
Yes.
The skin cancers, most, by numbers, most of them are. They don't spread to kill you, but a few do. So It's really important to get them
And
early.
it's in areas, which Sara and I were just mentioning, that many times it's other people that maybe as your hairdresser. I've had tons of people who have said, like Sara was just mentioning, there could be something back behind your ear, or this one lady, she said, had it like deep into here, and she's like, have you ever had that mole checked? You might want to get it checked. I know men claim that they don't want to go to the doctor because they don't want to be told that there is something wrong, but you need to know so that you can get out and...
I had a hairdresser who probably saved this fellow's life because she pointed out what was a melanoma, and we got it early.
Yeah.
on the top of his scalp.
Well, and I remember someone I used to work with at KMOX. He and his wife actually both, they had skin cancer and he had a big chunk taken out of his back, but it escalated because they weren't paying attention to it. And then all of a sudden, she came back and said, you need to have that checked because it was on his back. And he's like, well, you're not looking back there. You're not looking back in a mirror or anything that looks out of the ordinary to call attention to it. If you have a partner, make sure you're looking at your partner as much as you want them to look at you. We think about the animals, right? I think of like what is it, baboons or whatever. They're constantly like picking and looking. We need to do that. It's like, turn around, honey. Let me check you if there's any problems.
Yeah.
So
take pictures and see how it.
And then zoom in.
Yeah, I guess the best dermatologists had photographic memory, right?
Yeah.
But can they really remember? Can you really remember what something looked like 6 months or two years ago? Take a picture, store it, and take it again. See if it's evolving.
Well, that's no different than me telling people, take a picture and see how you're changing as you're working out. You might not realize it, but when you look back at a picture from a week, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, all those changes to be aware at. Dr. Richard just said, I got a shingles shot a year ago. Is that the first vaccine or the second, if he got it a year ago? Because you were just mentioning
that's the new one.
The new one would have been a year ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
The new one's been out for several years.
And so you're, again, a fan of that one?
Yeah.
Okay. So there you go, Richard. That's a good one. Before we wrap up, protocol-wise, and you've mentioned this before, how you and your doctors and nurses and nurse practitioners, how you are different and how your protocol is different. Because did we get a chance to set up the interview we wanted for next week?
They're available.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're good to go.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So can you tell that story a little bit, and we'll forward promote of what's happening next Monday?
The key is what happens before they come to us. What happens between the visits? Because, the time I spend with a patient, even if they're coming monthly, is, that's like 2% of the year, 1% of the time.
Right.
So what's going on between the visits? So we teach a lot about that, but also make ourselves immeasurably available. People have to want to come. And most people, the reason they might not come on time, especially we're into the seniors are the Korean War generation, the World War II guys have all but, I don't think there may be one or two left, but, those folks are deferential. Just to quote one fellow, hell, Doc, I didn't want to bother you. Okay.
Does he talk like that? I like
he
that
did.
little accent.
It's Elmer, bother me, If I get it early, it's way better for the person.
Yes.
It's actually less hassle for me, if they get sick enough to go to the hospital. Now I got to go to the hospital every day. And I'm happy to do it if you need me, But the tragedy is if you call early, often I can get it. So the big difference is we are immeasurably available, right? And then when people come, we're questioning and listening. Some get annoyed with the detail of my question, but I'm really sorting it out, trying to figure out what they're telling me. Because if 3 people come in and say, gee, Doc, I'm tired. One's short of breath, one's sleepy, not getting enough sleep. Another one is, low on thyroid or testosterone or got some infection or inflammation going on that's running them down. So I had to understand what tired means to that person. So a lot of detailed questions, examination, and then order test as necessary.
And you take
but it's
that time
and listening.
Right.
Yeah.
Listening.
Yeah. Most. I've said it before. My best health plan, the one I found at Essence, pays us in a way that I get paid to get it right, not to do it often. I don't have any benefit for ordering more stuff. Most doctors have to order and do stuff to make a living. If you don't show up, but we don't get paid that way most of the time. So I get paid to get it right, so I can slow down and get it right. Take the time.
And if somebody has Essence, they can change their doctor at any point throughout the year, right?
That's
if
right.
they have Essence.
Yep.
Otherwise, there's a window of opportunity during open enrollment later in the year.
Well, except that Essence is 5-star, and they can move into Essence all year long.
Oh, they can?
They can change to Essence all year long because it's 5-star. The only 5-star in the state, one of the very few in the country.
There we go.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you're going to be seeing Dr. Willey for months on end to be talking about your issues, but why not say, I've made him my doctor. It makes sense. I've never had this kind of care, but that's why I wanted him to be a part of a segment that we wanted to start just a few months ago.
It's like
Medical Mondays. Ask the Doctor. You need to remember every Monday that he'll be here for you, but instead of waiting until the morning of, let us know questions before. That way I can get it to him and say, hey, so-and-so wants to know this. Can you come on board to talk about
So
this?
it's, Monica, do you have a doctor in your family?
Yeah, you.
Stole my punchline.
Okay, go ahead. No,
Yeah.
I don't.
Now you
Doc.
do. Now
Oh,
you
well,
do. I'm the
thank
doctor
you.
in your family.
Yes, he
So,
became ours.
If you're the doctor in the family, they call you.
Yes.
Call you anytime.
But you know,
You'll be out to dinner. Oh, what about this?
Yes.
Well, sure. Call me. If you see me in a restaurant, come on over. I'll have a look at your skin while we're.
Yeah, now everyone's going to come over. Hey,
Now-
that's Dr. Willey.
Now the boss might be frustrated.
Yeah,
by
I was
that,
going to
but-
say, because trust me, I have people that come up to us all the time. Oh, I used to love watching you on Channel 2, Channel 5. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, hi. And then Jim's like, sitting over here. Okay, Monica. No, but I do want to say this, because you became my doctor after I asked this specific question. After knowing him for, what have we known each other, 15 years now, probably,
20.
or longer, 20
20.
years, I knew that he always took care of seniors. So I thought I was too young for him to be my doctor. And you said, while I do see a lot of seniors, no, I see younger generation
You'll be
too.
senior someday.
I will be. I'm getting there. I'm 52 now, inching along. I remember when my husband turned 50 and all of a sudden he had AARP cards show up and he's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I want to still be young.
That's
So yes,
right.
as we are getting there, but I want you to know it's not just seniors that he treats. He's my doctor. He turned into my doctor, and he is Jim's primary physician. So if we trust him to be ours, and you trust me, then you should turn him into your doctor so he can take care of you. Okay, again, if there are future pictures that you want him to look at, we can pop them into other shows. But next Monday, can you give us a little breakdown, just a little summary of what we're going to hear next Monday? The two patients you're going to have on.
Yeah, it's a mother and son, and they both had really important problems, and they were having trouble getting them dealt with. So I intervened and got them dealt with quickly. So they were worrying about each other. Their tumors, tumor potential, cancer potential, and so I just did what I do and got it done quick, and the outcome was great, and they're delighted.
And you were able, again, this is why he says to get out ahead of it. He was able to diagnose and then get them in.
Yeah, inside
earlier.
baseball. So,
Yeah.
You've heard inside baseball is a metaphor, but, I don't know. Let's see. If you're in a company that's doing some service and your family member needs that service, you might be able to go to head of the class. So if I'm your doctor in your family, I can
Get you in.
I can get you in, and I focus on it and make it happen. I call the surgeons in this case. Call them personally and make sure, hey, this is important. Can you see him tomorrow?
That's the benefit of having the advocate for you, because otherwise it's somebody within your family making all these calls and all that time is ticking away.
Or, you'll hear the one say they told him to call central scheduling. Right?
Yeah,
You're
never getting in.
We had it done before he would have had that appointment.
absolutely.
We got it done, so really important.
Donna just said great information. Thank you. Absolutely. I think, Zach, did you say, do I want a third slide? He's breaking up on me, but I believe so. If we have another one, let's go ahead and show it. This is the skin issues we're talking about, I believe is what he's asking.
Yeah, it's...
You don't. Okay, never mind. Let's go ahead and wrap up. So again, InnovareHealth.com. And next week, Monday, what are their names?
Louise and John.
Louise and John are going to join us, and we're going to talk about, again, we're going to show the testimonial aspect of the story of how elevated and escalated that could have become if he didn't have Dr. Willey in his life. That's the big thing. Okay, we always wrap up with a devotional. I got to tell you what, the service I went to yesterday just almost made me cry, almost blew my mind, and it had to do with so many things, but one of the things that you just mentioned, which is what you do, listen. And the pastor said, if we would ask one more question and listen, and sit back and listen, how much better this world would be. Think about it. If the doctor missed and was thinking about the next thing he wanted to talk about, completely missed what his patient was concerned about, that patient could have been dead. He got him in early because he listens. He genuinely cares and listens. All of you, the art of listening is one of the most amazing things that I wish we could teach a little bit better. But maybe what the pastor asked was, it's not too late to make one more resolution.
No.
Listen better.
Yeah.
Listen better. Okay, what color? You picked orange last time.
Purple.
Purple. Oh, fear and anxiety, because they could be fearful about what their skin issue is.
Absolutely.
But you still have to get in and get it checked. 100 days to freedom from fear and anxiety when we return.
InVita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. InVita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, InVita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let InVita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment or online InVitaHealthandWellness.com.
And welcome back, 8:10, and it is the wrap-up of the Real Monica Adams Show, looking at all of your comments. A lot of good mornings in there, a lot of people loving our new segment. Again, what the weather? Well, the weather is that rain is coming later into this afternoon. Tomorrow, though, almost every meteorologist, including our future meteorologist, Beckett Moore, said expect some snow in our immediate area, maybe 1 to 3 inches. So be weather aware. Tomorrow, I'm going to keep my entire team safe. We're going to keep an eye on the radar. We'll probably do our show virtual tomorrow, and I will be talking with Andy Way, Always Adventure. Great show on tap for you tomorrow. We also have Chris Draft. Do you remember that name? He used to be a St. Louis Ram. Well, he lost his dear wife to lung cancer. In fact, they got married and he lost her shortly thereafter. He'll be coming up on Wednesday. It'll be just you and I on Thursday doing a little inspiration as we talk about... I'm sorry. We're actually going to have an incredible interview on Thursday with Kelsey Watts and her husband, Brandon Britt. If you haven't followed, please, from now until Thursday, start listening to this beautiful angelic voice. Kelsey, at Kelsey Watts Music. You swear that there's no way that the music is coming out of this woman. She has the range of the likes of Mariah Carey, Celine Dion, Whitney Houston. Trust me, this woman's going to explode. She's already in the recording studio, and it's all because she was discovered on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. So that's the aspect of social media that actually works for her. So Kelsey and Brandon will be my guest on Thursday. And then, you know this name? Dan Gray? Former Fox 2, KSDK. I don't know, he may have worked at KMOV as well. He is going to join us, and we're going to talk about his own scare, prostate cancer. It was stage 4. How is he doing today? He's thriving. I've been following him and looking at how incredible he looks. He looks so healthy, and we're going to talk to him on Friday. So what a show and what a lineup of guests. Well, help is on the way. It's day 22 of 100 Days to Freedom from Fear and Anxiety. And it is from Isaiah 35, verse 4. Say to those with fearful hearts, be strong and do not fear, for your God is coming to destroy your enemies. He is coming to save you. So when things in our life are scary, right? We've been talking to Dr. Charles Willey and Sara Franco about why you want to get in. Yes, it's scary to find out a diagnosis you don't want to hear, but then they can take care of you. Oh my gosh, it literally says this, Dr. Willey. It says a diagnosis we weren't looking for. That's crazy. Or a relationship challenge, or facing our own sinful choices. It can be difficult to move forward. We can feel alone and isolated, unable to find the strength to deal with the day ahead. But remember this, you're not alone. Ever. God is merciful and will provide strength for you for every step of your life. No matter what the situation, when fear begins to rise up in you, recall how God has been faithful in the past. You know, you don't have to fix the entire situation all at once. The idea is another way that fear keeps you trapped. When we're fearful, we may believe that the lie that we have to have an answer completely figured out before we can move on. It's there. It's not sometimes. Whatever is causing you to fear today, know that God will provide his strength and is coming to save you. It may look different than what you expect, but be confident that God is with you. Martin Luther said, faith is a living, daring confidence in God's grace, so sure and certain that the believer would stake his life on it 1,000 times. So today's prayer, Lord, Thank you for giving me your strength to face my fears. Help me as I fight the fear that wants to control my life. Amen to that. Isn't that interesting?
Yep. So anxiety. Wise medical school professor. As soon as the patient comes into the room, as soon as you, I think his metaphor was order a test. Be careful because you're beginning to make them sick, and he's talking about anxiety.
Fear, yeah.
So as soon as the people have the anxiety when they come, but if I order tests, if I increase the uncertainty, now they're worrying.
Anxious. Yep.
So we get her done right away.
Yes.
Which is what's really important.
It is. We used to call it.
Get the test done quick. Get the answer out.
White coat syndrome. You
Yeah.
asked my husband this many times. Do you have a fear of the white coat because your blood pressure and your heart rate go up? And then you tell him, just take a breath, relax, which is why I'm big on meditation and calmness.
It's
Calm the
mutual
mind, take
because
it
I
in.
have a fear of policemen.
That's amazing.
least-
The lights are on in
At least when I'm going
too fast.
80 miles an hour on the freeway.
You wouldn't do that, would you?
Oh.
All right. Again, thank you so much for tuning in today. Dr. Charles Willey will be back with us next Monday. And if, again, I say this to you, this is your show. If there's ever a topic that you want us to cover on our Medical Mondays, let me know in advance. My email, info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com, and we can get it to him and say, hey, this is what they want to hear. Their web address, again, is Innovare Health Advocates.com. Look that up, give them a call, and set up your appointment so you don't wait any longer.
Challenge me with your diagnostic dilemma.
Yeah, I like that. Very good. All right, each and every one of you, thank you so very much for tuning in today. We love you. We want to help you. That's what this show is all about. Remember to go out, be anything you want to be in this world, but before you're anything, be kind. God bless you all.